Hi, my name is Donnell Buggs. I am the Director of Bigger and Better Business for Kappa Upsilon Sigma chapter of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And once again, we are celebrating August, which is the National Black Business Month. And we have with me today and with us today our very own Senator Troy Singleton, who's going to talk to us a little bit about his perspective as it relates to Black-owned businesses here in our community. So, Brother Senator, thank you so much for participating in this interview, and we're going to jump right into it. So, Senator, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Sure. First of all, it's always an honor to be with my brothers of Phi Beta Sigma to have any conversation, but one that's important about elevating Black businesses here in the state of New Jersey. As someone who was born in the city of Philadelphia and raised there for the first 13 so years of my life, being around minority communities and minority entrepreneurs was something I saw every day. As our family moved to southern New Jersey and grew up in Willingboro, got a chance to continue that growth and evolution of thought as it relates to the development of minority entrepreneurs and Black business leaders. So this conversation isn't new to me. It's one that I'm excited about because it comes from so many folks that I saw each and every day making our community better as they enhanced and started their own businesses.
Wow, that's amazing. So started off in Philly, made your way to Willingboro, and so great town and thriving town, great people, and so that's amazing. And how did what really inspired you to get into politics?
So by happenstance, quite honestly, in college, I had an internship in the state capitol. And frankly, it was one of the few paid internships I was able to get when I was in college. And at that time, getting paid internships was something I was on the hunt for. But that being said, though, once I got there and got a chance to interact with legislators and understand the government process from that side of things, I was hooked. And it's something I said I got to figure out a way to get involved in. Now, I went to Rowan University and graduated Rowan University, and my degree was in business administration and finance. And I had visions of working on Wall Street. But when I really got the bug in me about government, seeing how the process goes forward and how we can make good public policy that affect people's lives for the better, I wanted to be a part of it. And luckily enough, shortly thereafter, two gentlemen who won for office in the community in which I grew up in the 7th legislative district that I'm privileged to represent today. One, were looking for someone to be a staffer on their race, and someone remembered me from my days in Trenton. Said I grew up in Willingboro, be a good kid to give a shot to, and the rest, as they say, is history. That's how I began.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
As you know that. Again, this is National Black Business Month. Uh, I'm curious to know your perspective on how you view the current state of support for Black-owned businesses in New Jersey.
So, it's always good to have that conversation as it associates with data, because I think anecdotally we may feel a certain way, but sometimes data tells us a different story. And earlier this summer, there was a study that came out, an organization called Lindio, put out a study about the best and worst states for minority entrepreneurs. And the study showed that New Jersey was the 5th best state for minority entrepreneurs to succeed, which is telling. I mean, when you think about it. And the reason why, it was stated that there was more money per capita in business loans to underserved communities compared to our national average. So for every per capita dollar that's spent, $399 per capita in business loans were being invested in underserved communities compared to the national average, which is around a little over $350 per capita. And why that's important is, as you know, Donnell, like you got to have these financial resources to actually help these startups and businesses grow. And it's important to recognize that while there's a lot of conversation around what New Jersey is not, one of the things that it is open for business. And it has demonstrated that by making sure it puts those resources back in front of entrepreneurs who want to see and grow their businesses. And New Jersey has an amazing coaching program through its small business networks that it has in place, through its various chambers of commerce to help grow minority businesses. And frankly, the work that we've done from a legislative standpoint, much that I've sponsored and led on to try and drive more opportunity to minority businesses, not just in things like the cannabis space, which we've been the leader on to try and make sure it's equitable so that
Mm.
not just big corporations, but everyone has an opportunity to grow in this space. But things like minority entrepreneur sort of biannual sort of work sharing programs where the state of New Jersey will have what's called as vendor fairs almost, where businesses associated with the African American Chamber of Commerce, as well as other chambers of commerce that are affinity groups, will have an opportunity to partner with larger scale general contractors so that they can actually have opportunities to bid on state contracts where they couldn't do it just independently because they don't have the bandwidth to do it or know, hey, I can be a sub for somebody, but I don't know who is the main player to be a sub. It was to
Yes, sir.
bring people together. So we're aggressive in this approach to make sure that the opportunity train is really equitable and done in a way that we have to be intentional about it. And it's something I'm proud to continue to press on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're doing a fine job as well at doing it. So I know that the audience, as well as myself, appreciates the great work that you're doing. Um, I read an article where it says that about 46% of African American business owners feel that raising capital was one of the unique barriers to their business. What are some other programs or resources that you know of that are in place to address some of these unique challenges that entrepreneurs, and particularly African American entrepreneurs, are facing in starting and growing their business?
Well, I would point anyone who is in the process of starting out their business or growing their business to engage quickly with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. The New Jersey EDA, as it's known, our Economic Development Authority, is the clearinghouse for all economic incentive programs that the state has. And there are several that are really focused on trying to drive greater engagement for minority entrepreneurs to be able to move forward. I encourage folks to visit their website and look through the various programs that they have in place because there are so many also that are geared to underserved communities, frankly, to help them be able to grow. So entrepreneurs, especially from some of our more challenged cities from a socioeconomic standpoint, we want to make sure that there's a lot of homegrown businesses there. So there are targeted economic incentive programs that are geared toward those communities. We also talk about our urban enterprise zones here in the state of New Jersey. We have several across the country. Many are in minority communities. The idea not just to have sales tax breaks in those communities, but also to use some of those resources to help those businesses in those communities sort of change the face of those communities from like providing grants and low interest loans to help them create better storefronts so the stores look more lively and more
Mhm.
engaging and appealing to customers and shoppers. Make sure shopping districts look more inviting to shoppers from all across the general area to come into those communities and do it. So the state has done a really good job of targeting many of these economic incentive programs to some of our key areas. But that's not to say that there isn't enticements for folks to go beyond just certain communities. We don't want to ever see concentration of businesses in community A or community B because we think the mosaic of our state is made better when it's diversity across the board, both in education, experience, and entrepreneurship. And we can do that through our New Jersey Economic Development Authority.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And talking about um, some of the some barriers, we know the reality also, senators, that there are some systemic barriers such as zoning and regulatory hurdles that many minority businesses face. Are there plans to address any systemic barriers that can hinder the success of Black-owned businesses?
So I think that's an ongoing discussion that never ends, right? So there's been, I think the dirty secret that we don't talk enough about is how the remnants of a Jim Crow era system, the remnants of slavery still persist and engage today in so many facets. And in the economic development facet, it still remains. So as we continue to figure out how we can take down some of these barriers that I know that you talked about, it is going to take our collective efforts to really be engaged in that conversation, and both from a legislative and legal standpoint. So when individuals are saying, "Hey, this zoning rule here in place isn't right," most zoning is done on a local level. That's not something that I have control over on a state level. But that being said, though, there's active legal folks who want to look at this and say, you know what? Yes, these areas are being zoned in such a way that, Troy Singleton won't have an opportunity to grow his business there because they've shortened this network or changed this network around where the areas of the commercial development can be. So we have to be vigilant, but we have to work in concert together, both from a legislative policy standpoint and from a legal standpoint, to address some of those barriers and moving forward out of our way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And last but not least, Senator, what advice would you offer aspiring Black entrepreneurs looking to start or expand their businesses in New Jersey?
Um, well, first of all, I want to applaud them for taking the courage it takes to start a business. I think the backbone of our country, the foundation of our economic system, are individuals who says, I have a dream and I want to make that dream a reality by being the owner of a business. I'm blessed to know and work with so many minority entrepreneurs. And there's two things that I've come to realize by talking to them. One, the level of perseverance that it takes to be able to succeed, not just in business, but with some of those social barriers down now that you talked about, is exemplary. And those are the type of people we want to build upon.
Mm.
And secondarily, if given an opportunity, not a handout, if given an opportunity, those business owners will flourish and find their ways forward. So for me, I want to encourage people that if you think you have the better mousetrap, as they say, and you think you can do it, then really start investing in yourself to be able to do it. Investing in yourself meaning, I remember my old boss told me this story and it was so key. He wanted to open a restaurant, but he had to work in a restaurant. He had to work at every layer of a restaurant. He was a waiter. He was a cook, short order cook. He ultimately became a maitre d', but then he also had to do some of the back office stuff for a restaurant. He did that over several years to understand and know the business. Once he did that, then he worked with his bank and frankly, his family bank to get the resources necessary to start his own restaurant and be able to move that forward. And he's still to this day still successful. He often points back to that foundation of actually learning the business. Anyone who's starting a business, you can't just think, you know what, I think I can do it because I saw someone else do it. You really got to be ingrained in it to understand the nuances of it. And what better way sometimes to do that without risking your own capital by being in with someone who can help you do it. Mentorship in every aspect of our life is critically important. And I think for entrepreneurs, having good mentors to give them the foundation to build off of is something that can carry them forward. So those young brothers and sisters with the dream of being business owners, get in the business that you want to ultimately run yourself. Learn it. Learn it well enough that then you can master it and take it to your next step where your money will be at risk and your name will be on the line. That would be my advice and suggestion. Think really hard about how you're going to do it, but get the experience first before you take that leap of faith.
Great advice. So investing in yourself, find out, what is it you want to do, have the drive, put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. And making sure that you're collaborating with mentors, people who can guide you and direct you in the right direction. That's what I'm getting. To be successful. Thank you so much, Senator Singleton, for that great advice, for great words of encouragement to those who are out there that's going to be watching this, and just some insight into, what we can do collectively to thrive, and encourage our Black entrepreneurs. I know I said this is going to be the last question, but I do have one more for you because you're a very busy man. I see you all over the place. Just a couple of weeks ago, you sponsored back to school event, and then after that, there was a jazz festival that we have annually at Willingboro. You sponsored the summer restaurant week just last week, and this week we have the annual free back to school haircuts at Mongoose Barbershop that you're sponsoring as well, located right here in Cinnamon, New Jersey, from 8 to 4 for kids under 12 and under. I'm curious to know, when do you find time to take a break from all the work that you're doing? You're all over the place. What do you do for self-care? How do you find that?
I appreciate that. Right. So public service and the work that we do is critically important to me. And I've been blessed. We talked about mentors. I've been blessed by having so many people in the course of my journey who poured their wisdom into me to help make me a better person. And while I can't, pay each of them back financially, I can pay it forward. And I try and pay it forward each and every day by trying to do something to make my community better. And frankly, it never feels like work when I do those things, right? We were just giving away backpacks again last night to kids and talking to
Mm,
them. And like I said, we'll be at Mogul's Barbershop on Saturday, giving kids free haircuts, which we've been doing for years and years.
mhm.
It's our opportunity to stay close to our bosses, which is what I call the people I'm honored to represent, my bosses. It's our opportunity to stay close to them and let them know that public service still matters. And it matters if you're out there touching the people you work for. That's how I get to be better at my job. And that's how they get to know me. And for me, it's the highlight of my job when I get to do that. So I look forward to it. And, someday we'll catch a nap as we're on this journey. So we'll do that too.
Somewhere in between there, right?
Yep, indeed, indeed.
Brother Senator, thank you so much once again for that. Um, New Jersey Senator, proud member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. We appreciate you. We applaud you for the great work that you're doing. Continue to do the great things, serving our community. I know I speak on behalf of the community when I say I appreciate everything that you're doing. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Be well.
You too. Be blessed.
Take care.
Bye bye.